Crying makes you blind. Not metaphorically. Tears physically blur your vision, make your face contort, and broadcast your location and emotional state to everyone within range. It is, by every measure of survival logic, a catastrophic thing to do. It makes you slower. It makes you more visible. It tells every predator, every enemy, every threat in the vicinity exactly where you are and that you are not okay. And yet every human being on Earth does it, has always done it. Across every culture, every continent, every era of recorded history, humans cry emotional tears. It is one of the most universal behaviors in the species. Darwin was baffled by this. He spent years studying emotional expression across animals and concluded that adult human crying was, in his words, purposeless, a leftover, a glitch. But here is the thing. Darwin was wrong, and the truth of why humans cry is stranger and more calculated than anyone expected. To understand how this happened, you have to go back. Before Darwin, before civilization, before language, to a world where the only currency that mattered was survival. For most of evolutionary history, being born human was a near-death sentence. No other mammal is born as helpless as a human infant. A foal can walk within hours. A wildebeest calf can run with the herd the day it is born. A human newborn cannot lift its own head, cannot regulate its own temperature, cannot flee a predator, cannot do a single thing to keep itself alive. It is entirely dependent, for months, for years, in a world full of things that kill. And so evolution gave the human infant one tool, one single mechanism for survival: a sound. The infant cry is one of the most powerful social triggers in nature. Studies have shown it activates the brain's threat detection system in adults, including adults who have never had children, faster and more forcefully than almost any other stimulus. It is not a sound you can easily ignore. It is not designed to be. The cry does not ask for help. It demands it. It bypasses rational thought and goes straight to something older, something reflexive, something that cannot look away. That was the original design. Keep the helpless thing alive long enough to become less helpless. But something happened. The tool did not stay with infants. Here is the part most people miss. Crying did not evolve once. It evolved in layers. The infant cry came first. Pure survival signal, purely acoustic. But somewhere in the long history of human development, the body added something new, something that changed everything. Emotional tears. Humans are the only animals on Earth known to produce emotional tears. Not reflex tears. Those appear in many animals in response to irritants, to protect the eye. But psychic tears. Tears that come not from pain in the body, but from pain in the mind. This is not speculation. Researchers have analyzed the chemical composition of emotional tears and found something remarkable. They contain stress hormones, cortisol, adrenocorticotropic hormone, that the body actively needs to expel. They contain leucine and kephalin, a natural painkiller. The act of crying is, in part, the body physically removing a chemical burden it can no longer carry. But that is only half the story. The other half is what those tears do to the people who see them. Crying disarms people, not in a poetic sense, in a measurable, documented neurological sense. Studies have shown that seeing another person cry triggers an involuntary reduction in aggression in the observer. Not a choice, not a social courtesy, a reflex. The sight of tears, specifically tears running down a face, activates caregiving circuits in the brain and suppresses threat response circuits simultaneously. Think about what that means. In a confrontation, in a moment of danger, in any situation where another human being holds power over you, the production of visible tears shifts the dynamic. The attacker slows. The aggressor pauses. The person with power over you becomes, briefly, the person responsible for you. Your ancestors did not plan this, but the ones who could produce emotional tears at moments of genuine distress had a measurable survival advantage. Their conflicts ended differently. They received help at higher rates. They died less often in situations that should have killed them. And so the trait spread, quietly, over thousands of generations, until it became universal. The infant cry kept babies alive. Emotional tears kept adults alive. The same ancient tool, refined and redeployed. But the system, as with all ancient systems, was not designed for the world you live in now. Emotional tears evolved in a context of genuine, physical, life or death stakes. They were a last resort signal, a vulnerability display activated when the situation was truly beyond control. Today, the same mechanism fires in traffic, in arguments, in movies, in front of strangers, in situations your ancestors would not have recognized as threatening at all. The system cannot distinguish between a lion and a difficult phone call. It cannot distinguish between social rejection and physical danger. It responds to emotional pain the way it was built to respond, by activating every tool in the ancient kit. You are not weak when you cry. You are running software that is 200,000 years old in conditions it was never designed for. That is a very different thing, and yet something about crying still works. Even now, even here. Studies consistently show that people who cry in appropriate social contexts receive more support, more empathy, and more help than those who do not. The caregiving reflex has not disappeared. It adapted, the way most ancient things adapt, imperfectly, partially, but enough. The person who cries in grief is not performing. They are completing a circuit that evolution built for exactly that moment. The body is releasing what it cannot hold. The signal is going out, and somewhere in the person who witnesses it, something very old responds. Not because they decided to care, because they were built to. The next time tears arrive, unbidden, unwanted at the worst possible moment, know what is actually happening. Your body is doing what it was designed to do, releasing what it cannot carry, sending a signal older than language, activating a system built over hundreds of thousands of years by ancestors who needed it to survive. It is not weakness. It is not failure. It is the oldest weapon in the human arsenal, still doing exactly what it was made to do. But now you know,